Welcome to the channel. My name is Abir and this is a behind the scenes video of how I make my ambiences. Just want to say a big thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I've got loads more content on the way, so do keep an eye out for that. Okay, so for this video, I wanted to focus on my World War I trench warfare ambience. If you haven't seen it already, I'll post a link in the description, so make sure you go and check that out. And let's get into it. Just before I play this, I suggest you turn the volume down because this can get pretty loud and intense. So not too long ago, I had this idea of creating a really dark, intense, moody trench warfare ambience, World War I trench warfare ambience to be precise. So I did some research and I came across this image, which I was kindly given permission to use by Stella Carrick from ArtStation. I'll post a link in the description, amazing artist. If we analyze this image, we're in the trenches, it's daytime, there's wood everywhere, debris on the floor. So this was a great starting point, but the vision I had was obviously a dark, moody, intense battle scene. So I had to do a bit of editing. After that, I got this. So this is the final image, well, this is a screenshot of the final video that I made. It is quite different. Obviously, you can see it's the same image, but I've added lots of different effects and I've messed with the exposure and I've edited it to the way I like it and how I envisioned this. And I'm going to show you guys today how I made it. Okay, so right now we're in Final Cut Pro, which is a video editing software. This is my go-to for editing visuals and creating my videos. I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible so everyone can follow along and just talk you through it really. So this is the initial image that I started with. And the first objective was to get this a bit darker, maybe an evening setting, just to bring it down and make it more moodier. I used a preset called Day into Night. I've dragged this into the image and boom. It's looking good, it's looking darker. So now the trench is looking a bit more moodier. I wanted to take it a bit further, so I've added a graduated mask, which essentially does the same thing, just makes it a bit more darker. And I've also messed with the exposure to make it even more darker. So the little slight differences, subtle effects, but we're getting there. So we've started from this and we've already got to this and it's looking good. So the next step was to add some dynamic to the scene by getting rid of these clouds and replacing them with moving clouds, and then also doing the same thing by converting them to a nighttime setting and just blending it in. So the clouds that I had were these. I'll just play a quick preview for you. So these are obviously darker clouds and I thought this would blend in perfectly once I edited it. So I've added that in. And here are the clouds. So what I've done is I've masked it and I'll show you how I've done that. So I've added a mask, cropped around the trench, and then I've added the same effect as before to the trenches, the day into night conversion. Straight away, let me just get rid of this. We're almost there. The clouds are looking scary. Yeah, so look, we've got some movement there. Once the clouds were done, I wanted to add some more dynamic to the scene and decided to add some fire patches across the trenches. And so I used some overlays. I'll give you a quick preview of some of these fire overlays. So I've got this one. So I've got a bunch of these. I've got this one. I've got this one. This one. So I've got a bunch of fire overlays which I thought I'd incorporate into this ambience and added these in, and I'll show you how they look. So I'll enable this one. So I've placed them in specific points of the trench to make it more realistic. So this one, so obviously you can move it around as you can see. So I've placed this one about here and I've added a bunch of them in the scene. Just going to enable them and show you. This is what really changed the ambience for me and really brought it to life. just having fire in the trenches. You know, there's a war going on, there's fighting, there's gunfights, artillery, explosions, and of course there's going to be fire. I'll play this for you. You've got the moving clouds, you've got fire going on. That was that. Next up, I wanted to add some spark hits to represent bullets hitting the trenches. I'll give you a quick preview. You'll see one right here. These spark hits, I've placed them across the trenches at different spots. You'll notice that in the video. As well as spark hits, I've added gun muzzle flashes from machine gun, from rifles and whatnot. And here's a preview of that. So you see one here and one here. Right there. And right there. And these muzzle flashes, I've placed them across the trenches as well. As well as this, I've added some bullet tracers, and these go throughout the whole ambience. I think it's 30 minutes long. This is a preview of the bullet tracers. And I've placed them in different spots. So I've got some there, got some here, going across the trenches, over, behind. And that is pretty much it for the visual element of the video. In part 2, I'll be showing you how I sound designed the individual weapons, the artillery, the environment, and all the sounds that I incorporated into my ambience. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2.